Hello everyone. So today we'll be talking about Flexbox again. So we have already talked about main axis and cross axis. So when the flex direction is row, the main axis will be left and right, and when the flex direction is column, the main axis will be up and down. Uh, it will be the opposite if the main axis is up and down, it will be column. Oh, we have already just said this, sorry, I mean the cross axis. The cross axis, when flex direction is row, the cross axis will be up and down, and when it is column, the cross axis will be left and right. All right, so let's go ahead and learn some more Flexbox. So Flexbox has two part, like the main container and the parents. So let me show you guys what is the main element and what is the parent. So this is wrapping all three of these. So this will be the parent element and these will be the child elements. So these on the left side are properties for the parent element for this one, and these are for the child element or the insider ones. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this one, how to make this parent element Flexbox. I've named it Flexbox. It's very relative. Okay, so you just have to put display flex, and now all of these will be uh, aligned together because it is flex direction row. Let's go ahead and do flex direction column, and it will be up and down as I've talked about this. All right, so display flex. All right, so we can change flex direction. So flex direction, we can do row reverse, column reverse, all four of this we've already talked about this. We can also do flex wrap. Yes, we've already talked about this one as well. So we can do wrap, no wrap. By default, flex items will try to fit onto one line. We can change that with wrap, no wrap, or wrap reverse. All right, so flex flow is a shorthand. Flex flow is a shorthand for flex direction and flex wrap. We can say flex direction column and flex wrap, wrap or no wrap, whatever. Flex flow is the combination of both. Let's go ahead and try that. Flex flow, flex flow column and wrap. So I did not say flex direction column, but yet it is working because the flex flow also contains the flex direction and the flex wrap, both of them, as you can see right here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Flex direction and flex wrap, both of them together are flex flow. All right, so we can use justify content. Let me show you guys what is justify content. Let's just delete this line because we need the flex direction to be row, which is by default. So now elements will be like this, left and right. And now we can do flex start, which is by default. Justify content, flex start. It is already there by default. As you can see, nothing changed. Even if I comment this line out, it will be still the same because it is by default flex start. We can do flex end. Let's go ahead and do flex end. Now it will change because it will be aligned from end. We've already talked about this before as well, but let's go ahead and demonstrate some more. Let's go ahead and do center. Now it will be centered horizontally because the main axis is left and right when the flex direction is row, and justify content targets the main axis. All right, so it is now centered. As you can see, we can inspect it as well. Control Shift and C, and it will open the developer console. And as you can see, it is centered perfectly, and you can check it here as well. Flex direction row, flex justify content center. If I untick this, it becomes justify content start. All right, so we've covered that. We can do space between, space between. it will be space between. So this and the space between this and the element, and then the space between, it will take the space between them. As you can see, the first element, then the second element, there's a space between them. And we can also do space around. This will do space around them, and space evenly will put even space all around them. So this is same, this the all the gaps are same now. This gap, this gap, and this gap, and this gap. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn on my yes, this not exactly this cursor highlighter or something. I forgot what it was. I wanted to turn it on so you guys can see things more clearly, but let's forget it. I'll do it from the next video. All right, so space evenly distributes the space around them evenly. All right, we can see the stuff here: flex start, flex end, center, space between, space around, space evenly, start and left, right. We can do all of these. We are going through the container one first. Align items. Align items targets the cross axis. Align items. Let's go ahead and say align item start. It is by default start as well. So align items targets the cross axis. So flex direction is now row, so cross axis will be up and down. So let's go ahead and do center. You cannot see any difference here because the container does not have a height. Let's go ahead and set a height of 100 VH. Let's say it will be the viewport height. So the whole screen is now the height of the Flexbox. And as you can see, align item center has put the Flexbox center vertically up and down, which is the cross axis. And let's go ahead and use some other ones. Flex end. Let's do flex end, and flex end will put the things cross axis at end. We can do center. We just did center. Let's just not do center. Let's do stretch. Why is it not working? I'm not sure. Let's inspect it. Okay, it is working, but I'm not sure what stretch does. Stretch to fill the, oh acha, okay, I mean, I get it. It will just fill the space as we inspected right here. As you can see, it is taking the whole cross axis. This is the cross axis, and we've done stretch, and it stretched out to be the full height of the cross axis. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and do baseline. Right, what does baseline do? Baseline items are aligned such as their baseline align. Okay, I'm not sure about this one. Let's ignore this one. We'll be talking about it later, I think, because we'll be having more Flexbox videos, because Flexbox is very important. We really need to understand Flexbox properly. All right, so this is one of my favorite property of Flex, which is gap. As you can see, let's go ahead and set gap 20 pixel. So it will create a gap between all three of my elements. It is kind of margin or padding, but gap is pretty common, and I use gap all the time because it sets even space all around the elements, and we can build great layouts. Even if we had like more, let's say more three elements, and now we have same gap, we have the same gap. here, 20 20 20 20 20, all around it. It's really great. I use it all the time. Gap, row gap, column gap. Yes, we can use row gap and column gap as well. Let's go ahead and do that, and let's delete some of it because it isn't looking great. So by adding row gap, we will have row gap. Where's the row gap? Okay, we need to have it horizontally, right? I mean vertically, my bad. Column gap. Yes, as we can see, there's a column gap. So this is column, this is row. Left and right is column, up and down is row. So we are having the gap, column gap right here. We can use row gap as well, but we'll be needing much more items than just these ones. Let's go ahead and add row gap. We did add row gap, but what's up? Let's see. We have the row gap, but okay, it is, we need to add flex wrap as well. Now we can see the 20 pixel gap. We can't inspect it because we are zoomed in. There's the gap. It is the gap 20 pixel. Because we've used wrap, it is now creating a new line. Every time it is not adding a scroll bar and making us scroll to the right side. As you can see, if I remove the wrap, we have a scroll bar and we get to scroll. All right, so let's delete some of them because we don't need them anymore. So we've learned some of the parent ones. Let's go ahead and learn some of the child ones as well. As we can see, we can add order. These are for the childs. So we must add a class here, and let's say child, and let's copy and paste them here. Child 1, child 2, child 3, child 4. All right, we've used flex. Let's go ahead and target them. Child 2, let's say order 1. So as you can see, the child 2, which is the element 2, it is getting a order 1. So how does order work? Let's go ahead and read them. Order is by default 0. Okay, by default flex items are laid out in the source order. However, the order property controls the order in which they appear in the flex container. We can change the order. Let's go ahead and set the order 2, order 3. We have some confusion because of this one. Let's delete this and let's target the child 2, and let's set the order to be 1. Okay, why is it not working? Let's see. Oh, it is working actually. Oh, so the order will be by default 0. So now as you can see, it's at the second one. Let's add order 1, and now it's moved 1 to the right. Let's add order 2. Okay, it doesn't work anymore. Let's add -1, and now as you can see, element 2 is at first. Let's add some gap to see things more clearly. Okay, so element 2, we've targeted the element 2 right here. Element 2, child 2. We can set the order -1 and it will take it to the first place. Let's say order 0, which is by default. As you can see, by default it is at the second place. And now we can use order 1 to make it move 1 to the right side. All right, great stuff. Let's see flex grow. Okay, I know flex grow. Flex grow will just grow your box to however big you want it to be. As you can see, the child 2 has grown a lot. like it's taking all the space. How does it exactly work? This defines the ability for a flex item to grow if necessary. Okay. If all items are set to 1, the remaining space container will be distributed equally to all children. If one of the okay. So if all of them have the same flex draw, which is 0 by default, I think, yeah, by default it's 0. So all of them will be having a equal space. But if I have flex draw 1 here, it will be taking all the space out of these two. But if I set flex grow 1 to all of them, let's say child 3 and child 1, I have flex row to all of them. Now they all of them are taking same space, so it is basically a priority. Let's say I want my child 1 to be bigger. Let's add flex grow 2, and it will be getting all the rest of the space. After giving 1 on 1 to them, it is getting more. Okay, so negative numbers are invalid. Okay, we cannot use negative number. FlexThing is the opposite of flex grow. It will be shrunk down if necessary. Let's see, flex shrink 1, child 2. All right, the child 2 has shrunk down quite a bit. Okay, no matter. Okay, so it will shrink down if it is necessary. It is not necessary right now because we have enough space. Let's go ahead and make the viewport smaller. As you can see, it is shrinking down quite a bit if necessary. Let's say we comment out this one, child 2. Oh, as it is a flex box, it is still shrinking down. um, hmm. By default it's 1. Oh, okay, so by default it's 1 anyway. I'm not giving any special things to them. There by default it is 1 anyway, so we are using 4 here. So let's see if child 1 shrinks some more. We cannot see this like this. We need to have some different way. How do we need to see it anyway? Let's forget it. It's just the opposite of flex grow. Flex grow will grow if I put some number on it. Flex shrink will shrink if necessary. All right. So flex basis, this defines the default size of an element before the remaining space is distributed. Okay, flex basis is by default auto. If set to 0, the extra space around content isn't factored in. If set to auto, the extra space is distributed based on its flex flow. Okay, let's see the graphics. They're suggesting the graphics. All right, so if we use flex basis 0, all spaces are distributed, and if we do flex basis auto, extra spaces are distributed. As you can see, all spaces distributed. Let's zoom in a bit. Flex basis, when it is 0, all spaces are distributed to the guy with 2, but the extra space is distributed to the guy with 2 right here, short and long. Okay, right, quite good examples. If you have any trouble understanding these, I'll be talking about them again, because Flexbox is very important. Flexbox and grid, I think, two of the most important CSS layout stuff. You really need to understand this. Align self, yes, we can target this as well. Let's say I want to align self at end, child 2. As you can see, the child is aligned at end. Let's try justify self. Okay, justify self doesn't work. Okay, sorry, my bad. I thought align self is working, justify self might work as well. So align, as you can see, as you know, that align items will target the cross axis. So align self is targeting the cross axis as well, because we have display flex and the flex direction is row by default. So align self is now targeting the cross axis, which is up and down. This allows default alignment to be overwritten by individual flex items. Yes, sometimes we'll need like one element or two element to be at the end and others at top. Let's say I wanna create an element 4. Let's add child 4, and I wanna add child 4 align self, and so it's a design pattern. We want 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. So I'll just add align self end to the childs that I want align self to be ended at end, I mean. All right, so that's pretty much it here. Some of the things I have skipped here, but I will be talking about them in my next video. I will be making 2 or 3 more videos about flex, and then I'll convert back to uh, grid, I think. Yeah, flex and grid, flexbox and grid are two of the very important things in CSS. We must understand this. I'll leave a link to this if you want to check this out. So the left one, the properties for the parent, and the right one is for properties for the childs. You can take the link and go to this website and have a read for yourself if you want the background or the basics and terminology. You can check them out here. It's a lot for me to cover, I think. I'll be talking about Flexbox in more details in my next video, so keep tuned in. I mean, yeah, and subscribe to my channel, check out for my new videos, and thank you very much. And a few days ago we have celebrated Eid, so Eid Mubarak to anyone who are celebrating, and thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.